Roster cutdown day is finally here for you Jets fans. And coming up on today's edition of the Jets Report, we're going to be diving into our official final New York Jets 53-man roster projection. There's a lot of wild cards here that are trying to make the roster, so we'll go through every single position group and also talk about some practice squad candidates on the tail half of today's show. But before we dive into it, you guys got to let me know. Name a surprise cut candidate for the New York Jets. Drop that name down below in the comment section. Try to get creative with this, but curious to see what you guys have to say. Name a surprise Jets cut candidate. All right, we're going to start off with the quarterback room here. No big shocker. The Jets are probably going to keep two quarterbacks now. They already let go of Adrian Martinez, and I'm assuming Brady Cook will be added to the practice squad. So they're going to roll out with two guys, that being Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. Now, Aaron Glenn did give an update on Tyrod saying he should be ready to roll for week one. So he'll make the first 53-man roster for the New York Jets. So no big surprises there. And same with the running back room. So we're going to have them going Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and then they are going to keep Kene Nwangwu. Now, with his kick return ability, I think that will have some value for this coaching staff. But this three-headed monster at the running back position, they should have a monster season. Like Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, love the 1-2 punch they have. But even just throwing in there Isaiah Davis, I think should have a good year for the New York Jets. But I got big expectations for, honestly, all four of these guys. Even Kene in the kick return game. Hopefully he has a couple of splash plays this upcoming season. But probably the biggest question mark on offense, who the hell is going to make it at the wide receiver position? We actually got the Jets keeping 7 guys. Now, I think you have 5 locks heading into later today, where it's Garrett Wilson, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith, and Allen Lazard. Now, the question marks start coming. Who's going to be that 6 and 7 spot? Also, big question mark, will the Jets even just keep 7 guys? But I think they will at the wide receiver position. Now, I have them keeping Jamal Pritchett and Quentin Skinner, and that does mean Brandon Smith hopefully ends up going to the practice squad, even though with him hitting waivers, I can see maybe another team keeping a flyer on him. And, probably the biggest shocking player that we have making it is Jamal Pritchett. But this was a crazy Jamal Pritchett stat from the preseason. He actually forced 6 missed tackles as only a wide receiver, so this doesn't incorporate, him in the kick return game, him in the punt return game. And in the preseason, that was the most out of all NFL wide receivers. And even dating back to his last year at college, he was second in all of college football in missed tackles force, only next to Tep McMillan. So clearly every time this guy gets the football in his hands, you got to have 2 guys around him to bring him down, or else he's going to make you look silly and make you miss. But for the 5'8" wide receiver, he was making plays all camp, and it's a pretty cool story as a UDFA, making this 53-man roster. And then there are 2 guys where, the end of the road is here, and that's Xavier Gibson and Malachi Corley. There is no doubt in my mind that Corley will get cut. He's just been a head case for this team, and, I don't think his talent outweighs, the baggage and the craziness that is around his name. So I think he'll get cut. And also Xavier Gibson. Now, if he was, healthy this whole offseason, I think he would have a better chance to make it, but I just think the Jets like some of these younger guys more, like a Quentin Skinner and a Jamal Pritchett. So wide receiver room, I think they're going to keep 7, but again, that's a huge question mark later today is how many wide receivers and which wide receivers fell at the back half of that roster. But the tight end room here, no big shockers. I guess the only shocker we would have is Jeremy Rucker making the team, but it would be very rare for a team to just keep 2 tight ends. So we think they're going to keep all 3, Mason Taylor, Jeremy Rucker, and Stone Smart. And then we also included Andrew Beck, fullback tight end hybrid. He'll be playing all over the football field this year for the Jets. So no shockers at the tight end position. Hopefully Mason Taylor has a massive week 1. Excited to see what he's going to do out there with some real reps for this Jets offense. But to the offensive line we go. Olu Fashanu, no doubter, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Armand Membu. Now the backups, we got the Jets keeping 4. Swing tackle, Max Mitchell, a core 4, another swing tackle there. And then they got them keeping 2 interior offensive linemen to be the backups. One being Xavier Newman, and then the other one being Josh Myers. Josh Myers offers just great flexibility and versatility to that offensive line. So, no big shockers from the O-line here. Maybe the Jets could keep a 10th guy. Maybe they cut 1 wide receiver, and that could be an equation they end up shaking out. But I think we damn near nailed the offensive side of the football here. Now, coming up in a second, we'll dive into the defense. But we will have a video later today with the full official roster, all depth charts. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for that video. We'll break it all down in full here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button today And coming up next, we'll talk about the defensive side of the field for the New York Jets. But before we do so, today's episode of the Jets Report is brought to you by Prize Picks. And football is almost here, but college football is here. So don't miss out on any of the action this season on Prize Picks. And if you guys download the Prize Picks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you put your first $5 lineup. Now, Prize Picks is simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. And Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And speaking of Week 1, the Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. They got a deal for you guys. They got a max discount of Dak Prescott and his passing yards set at a half a passing yard. So if Dak throws for 1 passing yard, that means 1 win on Prize Picks. So it's a free square. So make sure you guys include this in all of your lineups leading up to that Thursday Night Football game. And if you guys download the Prize Picks app today, plug in that promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you put your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive, massive, massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, let's talk about the defense here for the New York Jets. Should be the backbone of this football team heading into the next season, and more specifically, the backbone of the team should be that defensive line. And we got a couple of new names there with Jawan Briggs and Harrison Phillips. So this is how we have our depth chart shaken out. Obviously, the 4 guys you see on the left side of your screen, all locked. Same with Tufele and Briggs, in my opinion. But you're going Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Harrison Phillips, and Michael Clemens. Probably still going to make the team, even though Aaron Glenn's not the biggest fan of his. But we got to make it our final 53-man roster projection. And then Jay Tufele will make it. Same with Jawan Briggs and Leonard Taylor. Tell you what, man. Talking about another guy that has earned their spot on this roster. Same with Jamal Pritchett. Leonard Taylor's up there as well. Had a massive game against the Green Bay Packers in Week 1. He's kind of built off that. He's looked good in training camp. So he'll make it. And then same with Brady McGregor at the defensive end spot. Now at the linebacker position, I think the Jets are going to keep 5 here. So Jamie Sherwood, Quincy Williams, Marcelino, Marqueri Ball, sorry about botching that name, and Zaire Barnes and Kiko Maugoa. Tough names to pronounce in the linebacker room right there. But yeah, we think the Jets are going to keep 5 as, clearly Sherwood, Quincy Williams, they'll be out in the field for 100% of snaps, but you want to have some depth at that position. And I think them waiving Jamin Davis is telling me they like a lot of these young guys, so they'll keep Barnes, McCrary Ball, and Kiko all on that list. So we got him keeping 5. Now, this very well could be the Jets only keep 4 here, add another guy to the defensive line, but they have shown that they're big fans of these guys behind Sherwood and Williams. So we'll have the Jets keeping 5 there. And then at the cornerback position, some easier names to pronounce here than the linebacker spot, but Sauce Gardner, Brandon Stevens, Michael Carter will be your starters for Week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then you got the rookie A.Z. Thomas, Quantez Stiggers, and Jarek Bernard Converse being the backups at this position. Now, the biggest question mark, I think, with the cornerback room is how quickly does A.Z. Thomas work his way into a starting role? Now, originally we thought it was going to be, sooner rather than later, but with Brandon Stevens playing good ball, I could see A.Z. Thomas, he's going to have to almost, earn that spot and have the trust from the coaching staff, but also Brandon Stevens, he's going to have a couple bad games. And with him playing good during the preseason, looking good in training camp, I think that might be unlikely in terms of A.Z. Thomas starting at some point, but, we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But at the safety room, Andre Sisco, Tony Adams, Malachi Moore, and Isaiah Oliver rounding out that group. Now, Malachi Moore, unbelievable during Week 3 of the NFL preseason. Had the highest PFF grade out of all New York Jets in that game. Extremely versatile. He was dropping down in the box, playing free, playing strong safety. He can really do it all. And with these smart defensive minds that the Jets have, they probably look at a guy like Malachi Moore and it's like, that's my Swiss Army knife. I could put him all over the field. He can make plays. So I could see starting safety room for the Jets maybe by Week 5, Week 6 is Sisco and Malachi Moore. But just watch out for this kid from Alabama, man. He might be too good to keep him off the football field. But then at the kicking position and the whole special teams, Fortunately, the thicker kicker's not going to make the team, but the Jets gave Nick Folk around $3 million for a reason, so he'll get that nod. Austin McNamara will be the punter, and then Thomas Hennessy will be the long snapper for the New York Jets. So that's how the special teams will shake out. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are asking, what about a Brandon Smith? What about a Brady Cook? Now, we think those guys are prime practice squad candidates where they're also going to have the opportunity to eventually be elevated to the 53-man roster. Also, was tough given Dean Cook the cut here. He had a couple good games in the preseason. Same with Donovan Edwards, but the Jets are just pretty well set at those respective positions. So we could see these 6 guys go into the practice squad. Now, again, maybe a Brandon Smith gets picked up on waivers. Maybe a Donovan Edwards, even though I doubt it, but should see all 6 of these guys return into the New York Jets, and they could be elevated, any given week for this football team if there's injuries to their respective positions. But we appreciate all of you guys watching today's entire show. And if you guys made it to the end, hit me with a Go Jets down below in the comment section. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, Go Jets.